So probably the biggest surprise of the year is here. And yes, I know that the green of my Cloverfield shirt is going to mess with the green screen. I don't care. I'm rocking my Cloverfield shirt today because holy crap, they ambushed us with the entire movie. Whoa. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, I'm here today to review for you the Cloverfield Paradox. So the Cloverfield Paradox is the new science fiction film set within the Cloverfield universe, and it involves a space station, the station Cloverfield. And they are attempting to get our energy resources. It takes place in the near future. They say we're running out of resources, our cities are blacking out, and they don't know what to do. So we're going to go up there, we're going to attempt to mess with some important particles and see if it can potentially renew our hope for energy. If you guys are saying, well, Scott, that doesn't sound like much of a Cloverfield movie, where do the Cloverfield elements come in? Well, I can tell you they are definitely in there, and when they are there, they are fantastic. Now, that being said, there are elements of this film that are not Cloverfield related, and I have to be fair. The stuff that isn't really Cloverfield related, it's not as good. And you have to say, where does this lie in the Cloverfield saga? I'm struggling to do this review. It's going to be a tricky review because of the fact that no spoilers. I am going to do a spoiler-filled video probably tomorrow, so you can look forward to that. I enjoyed this movie overall. It's not a perfect movie. It's not 10 Cloverfield Lane, it's not Cloverfield 1, but it is definitely a good time. This saga has had a pretty impressive track record. The story is a little bit imbalanced. They go back between mostly two story arcs, one on Earth and one in space. The one on Earth is incredible, and that is the movie that I frankly want to see. And you say, oh wow, this is so interesting, this is so great, and then we cut back to the space station, and you kind of go, oh, alright, this is cool. I want to know what's going on Earth. Earth, guys. Earth. And then, you'll go for long stretches, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the stuff in space is crap. The space stuff is actually quite good. It's just that there's times that I'm like, I really want to get back to the cool stuff on the ground. You don't necessarily. It's definitely sprinkled throughout, but when it does show up, you're instantly hooked. And you're like, oh right, we're back here. So honestly, if they'd done a movie, it almost felt like they had two separate movies and they said, you know what, let's combine them into one, which I'd believe it if they did that in a writer's room, because they have a spectacular story with this guy and a girl, and then you have our space station story. The space station story, Daniel Brohl was one of the standout roles, and I'm going to pronounce her name wrong, Mumu Bagatha Raw. She was spectacular in the film. She played a really good, strong heroine. She was useful. She was smart. She didn't do stupid things that you're like, oh, why would a character do that? No characters, in my opinion, did things that were stupid. They did things that made sense, that just happened to get the best of them because bodies do start rolling. So when that stuff is happening, it's a really good space thriller, which I like the overall motif of a Cloverfield film, which seems to be a giant story, epic story, with an isolated incident in it. And that's where I see that they're taking that DNA of Cloverfield and saying, okay, now this is where it's going to be. Now, as you guys are probably saying, now, are the Cloverfield connections, is it more like 10 Cloverfield Lane where it felt like a departure, or is it more like Clover where it feels like it fits? This definitely feels like it fits more in the Cloverfield universe than 10 Cloverfield Lane did. Granted, I felt that one fit in beautifully, but there were some that felt like it didn't, but I have to say that this is definitely more of a straight-up Cloverfield sequel, whereas 10 Cloverfield Lane feels like a branch-off. Now, I can't get into why, but yes, it does. It's an interesting tie, and I do have to say that the marketing of this film was spectacular in terms of that, dropping the trailer, dropping it, and just dropping the movie. But the trailer is a little bit misleading at times for what you're getting, and It didn't bug me any, but I feel like there's gonna be some people who are a little bit put off by that. All in all, though, this is a really enjoyable movie. I'm going to watch this a couple more times. I'll probably watch it tomorrow at work, since I'm going to do that, because ultimately I want to dissect it more. I want to see all the clues. I want to see what's coming next. And that's the thing that makes this a winning film, is that you're very curious and you want to see what's next, and there's a sort of overall tonality in it that feels like Cloverfield, and it's wonderful to be in that universe. I love this universe so far. And so I have to say, since this is a Netflix film, I'm going to still rate it as though it was in theaters. The Cloverfield Paradox is absolutely big screen worthy. It's one of those movies that sit down in the biggest screen you can, in the biggest room you can, and watch it with a bunch of people, and you'll have a blast. There's some really great spills and thrills and chills that'll get you hooked and keep you going throughout. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, what did you think of the Cloverfield Paradox? And no spoilers in the comments section. We will do a spoiler-filled video, as I said, probably tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos coming to you. Love you guys.